This video does not defend the war in Ukraine. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has been internationally condemned and is wrong. I sincerely hope that the war will come to an end soon and peace will prevail. The contemporary Ukraine war was caused by Russia's fear of NATO's expansion. But why did Russia invade Ukraine and not other Eastern European countries? Firstly, it is related to Ukraine's strategic location as a geopolitical pivot between Russia and NATO. Ukraine has long been Russia's buffer zone, protecting its western border for over 1,000 kilometers. Moreover, Ukraine plays a crucial role in building the Eurasian Economic Union, which unified the CIS region, Russia's own sphere of influence, and strengthened its economic and political power in Eurasia. Of all the regions in Ukraine, the Crimean peninsula is the most valuable politically, militarily, and economically. So from now on, we can now learn about the Ukraine war and NATO expansion. The Crimean Peninsula houses the headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet, serving as a crucial stopping point for Russia's maritime forces and is an ice-free port, a long-standing desire of Russia. The Crimean Peninsula location is also significant as it faces northern Turkey, providing easy access to the Middle East and Balkan regions. Historically, losing Crimea could lead to invasions from powerful Middle Eastern and European countries, as seen in the Crimean War in 1853. Therefore, the Crimean Peninsula is vital to Russia's security in both the western and southern regions. Because of its geopolitical importance, the Crimean Peninsula is also popular for shipbuilding and docking facilities. Additionally, the Sea of Azov, located to the east of the Crimean Peninsula, is abundant in oil, gas, and natural gas resources. Furthermore, 60% of Crimean's population is Russian, with Ukrainians residing in the north, Tatars in the middle, and Russians in the south. The Crimean Peninsula was incorporated into Ukraine, but it was originally part of Russia. Nikita Khrushchev, who was from Kalinovka in Ukraine, gifted Crimea to Ukraine as a way to promote a relationship between the two countries and secure a stable support base after Stalin's death. However, Khrushchev's true intention was to showcase his power to the world. He bypassed the pre-Soviet consent and reformed the process and unilaterally handed over Crimea in an executive meeting, violating the Soviet constitution. When the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, Crimea became part of Ukraine, but Khrushchev's illegal incorporation of Crimea became the background for the movement to return Crimea to Russia. Since Viktor Yushchenko's government, which came to power during the Orange Revolution in 1925, anti-Russian sentiment have become standard in Ukraine's policy. Yushchenko pursued a pro-Western policy, attempting to join NATO and the EU. However, after pro-Russian politician Viktor Yanukovych came to power during the economic crisis, the situation changed. Yanukovych made a deal with Russia to receive loans in exchange for not joining the EU or NATO. In addition, Ukraine received a 30% cut in gas prices by extending the Black Sea Fleet use of Sevastopol port to 2042. Citizens who opposed the government's pro-Russian policies started the Euromaidan revolution, and Yanukovych fled to Russia. Russia responded by sending Russian special forces known as Little Green Men and pro-Russian rebels to the parliament of the Republic of Crimea, taking control of the country's main stronghold. The Crimean Volunteer forces who took control of the parliament had a referendum in favor of integration into Russia 5 days later. The result of the referendum, held on March 16, 2014, showed that 97% of voters agreed to become a member of the Russian Federation, largely due to the economic benefit for being part of Russia. Russia's annexation of Crimea, which was forcibly carried out by Putin, remains a controversial issue. Russia claims that the annexation of the Crimean peninsula was justified by the principle of self-determination of peoples as reflected in the Crimean people's vote. According to this view, Ukrainians should be free to decide their own political future without any infringement on their territorial integrity. However, the Western powers saw the annexation as a violation of Ukraine's sovereignty and responded with sanctions. The crisis that erupted in Ukraine in 2014 was a manifestation of Russia's fear of the West. The EU's political and economic model encroached on what Russia saw as its traditional sphere of influence, leading to a change in government from pro-Russian to anti-Russian. As a permanent member of the Security Council, Russia was unable to impose non-military measures under Article 41 of the UN Charter, and so the West responded with economic sanctions, including export control, deprivation of most favored nation treatment, financial sanctions, and freezing of Russian central bank foreign currency reserves. But for Putin, the intervention by the West was like the Russian Civil War of 1920. Ukraine declared they wanted to join NATO, which sparked the Ukriane War. If the US had control over Ukraine, it would be easier for it to obtain abundant natural resources in Central Asia and restrain Russia. However, Russia should take a stand against NATO forces invading the country about 700 kilometers from Moscow capital. This essentially indicated that NATO's short-range ballistic missile can reach key Russian cities. Specifically, the Soviet Union and Russia have wary of NATO expansion. Overall, it is difficult to blame just the NATO expansion. We can, however, deny that this war is a continuation of Russia's previous phobia of the buffer zone. I believe it is time for all of us to reconsider the best course for the entire world. I genuinely hope that the conflict in Ukraine will soon come to an end. So thank you for watching this video, and please don't forget to click the subscribe and the like button.